Give me a minute. Let's talk again about Ukrainian innovation. It's amazing what these guys are doing. Jeez Louise. So what you're looking at here is the aftermath of a drone that dropped thermite all along here. Now, thermite, if you don't know what thermite is, it speaks well of you, frankly, because the only people in the common public, I think, that know about thermite are freaking 9/11 conspiracy theorists. Ugh. But thermite burns fucking hot and fast. And what the Ukrainians are doing is they're taking drones and they figured out some way to equip them with all this thermite, and they just drop it right along the tree line. Now, the fire has spread here to the fields, as you can see, but the whole tree line is engulfed. There's very little left to this tree line when the thermite is done with it. This could be a new mechanism for clearing the Russians out, like napalm was in Vietnam, as a defoliant, because it burns so hot that literally any of the trees, bushes, shrubs, undergrowth in there, it's up in smoke. It's up in smoke. The video is amazing. If you search online for Ukrainian drone thermite, you should find it. You know, I don't put any combat footage of any kind on here because it's problematic for a number of reasons. But this is amazing. Now, legitimately, the question comes up, is this a war crime? And I listened, and I am not an expert on those things, but I did listen to Chad Scott, he did a piece on this, and he goes through all the reasons why it's not. And the one thing that he highlights is the distinction, and it's a great distinction to make, because it goes to the very heart and soul of this conflict, the differences between the Russians and the Ukrainians, because the Russians want to say that everybody's alike, everybody's just like us. You know what it is? People who are liars think everybody's a liar. People who are honest think everybody's honest. People who, right, like you think everybody's like you, and they're not. And the Ukrainians and the Russians couldn't be any different, and here's the evidence right here. Here, the use of this weapon is specifically designed against combat troops in the open. And if we think about how the Russians have used white phosphorus, they just dump it on cities, whole cities, civilian targets. Because the Russians are all about a terror campaign to subjugate and break the will of the Ukrainian people, while the Ukrainian people, with their will, have managed to stay in this fight for 923 days as of today, the so-called 3-day special military operation. And every single day that the Ukrainians stay in the fight, given that Russia has every advantage in this thing, is a victory. It's a victory. And this is the kind of thinking, this is the kind of innovation that's going to ultimately lead to Russia's defeat. Not merely Ukrainian success, but Russia's defeat. Make no mistake.